What if I told you that some of the vitamins sitting in your cabinet right now, yes, the very ones you've been faithfully taking each morning to stay strong, energized, and well, could actually be the silent reason you're no longer feeling like the man you used to be? Not just a slight dip in energy, not just the occasional off day, but a real shift, fewer moments of intimacy, less consistency when it matters most, and for some men, a complete absence of that inner spark they once relied on. I know that might sound hard to believe, maybe even a bit unsettling. After all, you've been doing what you thought was right, taking your supplements, following the advice, trusting the labels. But for thousands of men over 60, what I just said isn't theory, it's reality. And the most troubling part, most of them have no idea it's happening. My name is Dr. Rowan. I'm a board-certified medical specialist and a faculty member at Baylor College of Medicine. Over the past 30 years, I've worked closely with men, just like you men, who want to feel strong, confident, and in control of their lives again. And here's what I've learned after 3 decades of practice. Many of the challenges we blame on aging, hormones, or stress aren't always what they seem. In fact, they're often triggered by well-meaning supplements products you take with the best of intentions, hoping to boost your health, but that end up doing exactly the opposite. So how is it possible? How can something that says heart healthy, supports energy, or designed for men actually be sabotaging your vitality from the inside out? That's exactly what I'm going to show you today. We'll dive deep into the most common vitamins that may be quietly draining your strength, your drive, and your confidence. And I'll also share the simple, science-based swaps you can make to start turning things around today. Because once you understand what's really going on, you'll realize this: you're not broken, you're not too old, you're just missing the right information. And that's about to change starting right now. I'll walk you through 4 specific vitamins that could be quietly disrupting your circulation, natural balance, nervous system, and overall physical performance. And I'll also introduce you to 4 nutrients that may help support recovery and restoration. But be sure to stay with me to the end, especially for vitamin number 3, because what I'll share there could be a real eye-opener. Now, before we dive in, if you care about improving your well-being, particularly in areas related to strength, energy, and confidence, I encourage you to subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, you won't miss valuable updates made especially for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're tuned in. If not, type 0. I'm here to support you, and your input helps me do it better. Let's begin. To understand how certain supplements might quietly affect your stamina, we need to start with how male vitality works. Because once you see what your body truly requires to function at its best, you'll understand how these everyday vitamins might be getting in the way. 1. Understanding the biological foundation of male vitality. When a man begins to struggle with physical intimacy, it's rarely just about drive. It's about identity, self-assurance, even connection with a partner. I've looked into the eyes of countless men, disciplined, successful, proud, who lean in and say under their breath, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." And more often than not, they assume it's just part of aging. But the truth is, it's not always that straightforward. You see, the ability to respond physically in intimate moments isn't just a bonus. It's the result of a finely tuned process. Several major systems in the body must work together seamlessly. The first and most obvious factor is circulation. Your blood vessels need to open easily, allowing healthy blood flow into the specific tissues responsible for firmness. At the same time, your nervous system must be fully engaged, releasing signaling molecules like nitric oxide to help relax those vessels and allow for responsiveness. Hormones, especially testosterone, need to be at optimal levels to support desire, and the tissues involved must be healthy and responsive enough to hold that state of readiness. If even one part of this system breaks down, it can lead to inconsistent, reduced, or even absent performance. Now here's where it becomes even more concerning. Some of the vitamins sitting in your cabinet, the ones marketed as supportive and beneficial, may actually be interfering with this system. They might thin your blood too much, constrict your arteries, dull your nervous response, or even suppress your hormone levels. And you'd never know it? Because the label says supports men's health. That's the trap. That's the quiet risk. This is exactly why we need to talk about the first vitamin that may be working against you, especially if you're over 60. 2. Vitamin 1. High-dose vitamin E can disrupt balance. For many years, I suggested vitamin E to patients. Like most physicians, I believed it was a safe antioxidant, helpful for heart health, immunity, and maybe even the prostate. But after many appointments with men who were doing everything right, yet still noticed a steady decline, I began to take a closer look. And what I uncovered was shocking. In large amounts, especially over 400 IU per day, vitamin E can actually cause harm. Rather than improving circulation, it may increase blood thinning and lower key hormone levels, working directly against what your body needs to perform at its best. It can make your blood thinner than it should be. That might sound like a good thing at first, especially for heart health, but when it comes to physical performance in the bedroom, it can spell real trouble. Here's why. During moments of arousal, the body sends blood to specific areas, but what matters just as much is the ability to hold the blood in place. If your blood is too thin, it flows in but also out too easily. It doesn't stay where it needs to. And that leads to weaker responses, difficulty staying engaged, or suddenly losing momentum midway through. This doesn't just affect your body, it affects your mindset. Confidence begins to erode. You may start questioning your abilities or avoiding intimacy altogether just to shield your pride. But it doesn't stop there. Multiple studies have connected long-term, high-dose vitamin E intake with lower levels of key male hormones and reduced reproductive health markers. And in men over 60, who are already more susceptible to hormonal shifts, this can quietly create even more imbalance, often without any warning signs. Many of the individuals I see are completely caught off guard when they learn this. They've been taking vitamin E for years, truly believing it's helping them stay youthful, not realizing it might be contributing to the very decline they're trying to prevent. But here's the thing, vitamin E isn't the only supplement with a healthy label that can actually be working against your performance. In fact, the next one is even more widespread, and it directly affects the very vessels that deliver blood where you need it. 3. Vitamin 2. Too much calcium can stiffen arteries and reduce flow. If there's one supplement nearly every older adult has been told to take, it's calcium. Great for your bones, they say. And that's partly true. Calcium does play a major role in bone health. But what often gets overlooked is what happens when your body has more calcium than it can effectively process. I've seen dozens of men over 60 walk into my clinic doing everything right, eating clean, staying active, taking their vitamins, and still struggling with physical responsiveness. Over and over, calcium shows up as the hidden factor. You see, as the body ages, calcium doesn't always end up where it's supposed to. Instead of going into your bones, it often settles in your arteries, especially when taken in high amounts or without balancing nutrients like vitamin K2 and magnesium. This can lead to stiff, narrow arteries, a condition called vascular calcification. And when those hardened arteries include the tiny vessels responsible for intimate function, you can imagine the outcome: reduced flow, lower pressure, and a noticeable dip in performance. Sometimes the response is weaker, or it doesn't happen at all. One man once told me, "Doc, it's like the signal is there, but nothing's moving. Something feels blocked." And he wasn't wrong. His blood vessels had become too stiff to expand because of a supplement he thought was helping him. Calcium isn't bad by nature, but in the wrong amount or without key cofactors, it can do more harm than good. And while calcium impacts the structure of your vessels, the next vitamin affects something even more important: the nerves and brain signals that trigger desire in the first place. 4. Vitamin 3, synthetic B6, can damage nerves and disrupt intimacy signals. There's a type of frustration I often hear from men, even more difficult to talk about than physical performance issues. It's when the desire is there, the body seems like it should respond, but nothing clicks. The spark feels muted. Touch doesn't feel the same. The signal feels weak, delayed, or just doesn't come. I've had men tell me, it's like my mind wants it, but my body forgot how. And more often than people realize, this isn't just about hormones or mood, it's about the nervous system. That's why I've become increasingly concerned about how widespread synthetic vitamin B6 has become. It's found in most multivitamins, listed as pyridoxine hydrochloride. It's cheap, mass-produced, and promoted for energy and nerve support. But here's the problem. In high doses over time, especially without proper guidance, it can do the opposite. It can harm the nerves. More specifically, it can affect the peripheral nerves, including those involved in sensation in the hands, feet, and yes, in intimate areas. For some men, this shows up as slight numbness. For others, it creates a full disconnect. The body simply doesn't respond to touch. Even worse, too much synthetic B6 can mess with dopamine, the brain chemical behind motivation, pleasure, and desire. And for men over 60, where dopamine naturally declines, this can rapidly speed up the loss of interest and emotional connection. I've had patients break down, not because they couldn't perform physically, but because they felt absent in the moment with their partner. That kind of loss isn't seen on a test, but it can quietly strain a relationship to the breaking point. The next supplement on our list targets something essential, the very foundation of male hormone balance. When taken the wrong way, it can completely throw off your testosterone and leave your system struggling to recover. 5. Vitamin 4. Too much zinc can disrupt hormones and irritate the prostate. Zinc is one of those nutrients that nearly every man hears about. It's said to support testosterone, boost immunity, and help with reproductive health. And all of that is true? In the right dose and form, zinc is crucial for male well-being. But I've seen too many men fall into the more is better trap. Especially for men over 60, that assumption can do far more harm than good. One of my patients, a 64-year-old named Alan, came to see me after months of confusion. He'd been using a popular over-the-counter supplement advertised to support male energy and drive. It had extremely high levels of zinc, well above the daily recommended intake. He expected better stamina, motivation, and performance. But what he got instead was fatigue, mood swings, and discomfort during urination. He even started noticing strange tension in his lower body. When we ran his labs, we saw not only hormone imbalances, but signs of prostate irritation. Here's what many people don't know. When zinc is taken in high doses over time, it can deplete copper, another mineral that's just as vital. When copper levels drop too low, it disrupts nitric oxide production, the very signal your body uses to create responsiveness in intimate moments. Low copper also increases oxidative stress and inflammation, especially in sensitive areas like the prostate. And when the prostate becomes irritated, it can press against the urethra, making urination more difficult and intimacy more frustrating, in ways that are hard to explain, but deeply personal. The problem isn't zinc itself, it's the imbalance. It's when zinc floods the system without the balancing presence of copper, or when someone unknowingly takes multiple zinc-rich products at the same time, leading to excessive intake. Now that we've explored how these 4 common supplements can affect blood flow, nerve function, and hormone balance, it's time to shift focus. Let's talk about something even more important, what you can do today to start reversing the damage and regaining control of your health and confidence. 6. Why are these vitamins still sold and trusted by millions? And you may be wondering, if these vitamins can be this disruptive, why are they still being sold, and why do so many people trust them? 6. Why are these vitamins still being sold and trusted by millions? You might be wondering, if these supplements can cause so many issues, why are they still everywhere? Why do they show up in daily multivitamins at your local pharmacy? Why are they in men's health formulas and even promoted in health magazines? It's a question I've asked myself many times, and the answer, while frustrating, is honest. The supplement industry is huge, over $50 billion and growing fast. Unlike prescription medications, these products don't have to go through strict clinical trials before reaching the shelves. They're not required to prove effectiveness, and they don't have to disclose long-term side effects unless something serious happens and gets officially reported. That means companies can create a flashy formula, throw on buzzwords like vitality, performance, or testosterone support, and sell it freely, with almost no regulation. And let's face it, when you're over 60 and trying to maintain your strength, energy, and sense of self, the promise of a simple pill is hard to resist. I understand. You want to feel like yourself again. You want to take care of your health. And if a label claims to help, it feels like a smart move. But here's what makes it tricky. Many of these nutrients are helpful, in the right dose, the right form, and in the right context. The danger happens when they're overused, poorly combined, or taken by aging bodies that process them differently than before. That's when damage can creep in quietly. Most men don't realize it's happening. They chalk the decline up to just getting older, not knowing that something in their own supplement routine may be making things worse. The good news? Once you understand what's happening, you can take back control. And that brings us to the most important part. 7. What you need to do today. The most powerful transformations often start with small steps. You don't need to change everything at once, but you do need to act, because every day you continue with the wrong supplements is another day your body drifts further from its full potential. Start simple. Go to your cabinet, your drawer, wherever you keep your daily vitamins. Pick up each bottle and read the label carefully. Look for vitamin E over 400 IU, calcium without magnesium or K2, vitamin B6, listed as pyridoxine hydrochloride zinc in high doses, especially over 40 milligrams per day. These are the small changes that can unlock a major difference in how you feel, think, and function. If your zinc supplement lists 30 milligrams or more, especially without copper, it's time to make a change. These products may have been marketed as health boosters, but now you know the truth. They could have been working against your performance, not enhancing it. The next step is just as important as removing them. Replace those supplements with smarter, better balanced options. Choose mixed tocopherols instead of synthetic vitamin E. Add magnesium and vitamin K2 to help guide calcium into your bones, not your arteries. Swap B6 for P5P, its active form, to better support nerve health and dopamine function. And use a zinc plus copper blend to help stabilize your hormones instead of disrupting them. These adjustments may seem small, but they can make a huge impact on blood flow, nerve sensitivity, hormone stability, and your overall confidence in intimate moments. Most importantly, don't ignore the signs your body is giving you. That subtle drop in drive, that inconsistency in performance, that gap growing between desire and response. It's not just aging, it's not just in your head, and it's not something you're stuck with. You can influence it, you can change it, and you can feel like yourself again. The key is knowing what to shift and having the courage to do it. 8. Final thoughts and next steps. If you've made it this far, let me say this: I respect you. It takes real courage to face something personal and vulnerable like your vitality and ask what's really happening. Most men don't talk about it. They stay silent, blaming themselves, or assuming it's just part of getting older. But now you know the truth. The problem may not be your age, your motivation, or even your relationship. The real issue might be hiding in plain sight. The very supplements you've been taking in good faith, vitamin E, calcium, synthetic B6, and high-dose zinc, may have been slowly working against you, not for you. And here's what's even more important to understand. This isn't your fault. This isn't a failure of willpower. And it's certainly not a reflection of your worth as a man. It's biology and misinformation. You were never broken. You were simply never given the right guidance. But that changes now. Because today, you've learned something powerful. That with just a few smart changes, removing a handful of unbalanced supplements and replacing them with safer, better formulated alternatives, you can start to rebuild what matters most. You can restore stronger blood flow. You can support sharper nerve function. You can help your natural hormone levels rebalance. You've learned how to take care of your arteries, your prostate, your testosterone, and your connection to desire. And that's not minor, that's life-changing. So here's what I want you to do. Go to your supplement shelf. Look at what you've been using. Remove what no longer supports you. Replace it with nutrients that do. Then, give yourself the most important ingredients of all: time, patience, and grace. Because real healing takes intention, not just pills. You deserve to feel strong again. You deserve clarity, energy, connection, and confidence. You've earned that. And with the right tools, the right steps, and the right mindset, your next chapter physically, emotionally, and intimately can be even better than the last. This is where transformation begins. Let it start with you.